Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, I'm going to review the Dark Mirror from the Twisted Wonderland series. His ability description is clear zooms randomly, and the game demonstration that you're currently watching right now is a skill level 1 game demonstration. So if you want to activate the Dark Mirror's ability, you're going to need to clear a total of 16 copies of him off their screen. And 16 is considered on the lower end, so you should be able to activate a lot of abilities per game. Minimum score is 110 with a maximum score of 992. So not that great for minimum score as well as high score. You wouldn't necessarily be using the Dark Mirror for its scoring purposes. And if you do want to get the Dark Mirror to skill level 6, you're going to need to get a total of 29 copies of him from the premium box. And 29 is considered on the lower end. However, before you max out the Dark Mirror to skill level 6, you should watch this video entirely and then determine for yourself if you want to get the Dark Mirror to skill level 6. So let's take a look at the skill chart. At skill level 1, the Dark Mirror is going to clear anywhere between 8 to 35 copies of zooms off their screen. And this number is going to be completely random and it's out of our control. However, at skill level 6, it's going to clear anywhere between 13 to 45. And as you can see here, the ranges or the gaps in between are very big. And it's out of our control, so a lot of it comes down to luck. And that's one of the things I don't like about the Dark Mirror, is that you can't control how many zooms they actually clear during the ability time. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying this type of content where I review zooms, do monthly leaks, review the selection boxes and the pickup capsules, please consider subscribing to this channel. Your subscription really helps me out a lot. And if you guys are looking for a community for this game and want to chat with other players who play Tsum Tsum, consider scanning this QR code on the screen. I'm also going to have invite links in this video description, so if you don't want to scan the QR code on the screen, you could use the link in the description down below. Alright, so let's get back to reviewing the Dark Mirror, starting with skill level 1, 2, and 3. At skill level 1, the Dark Mirror is going to clear anywhere between 8 to 35 copies of zooms off their screen. Skill level 2 will clear 9 to 37, and at skill level 3, they're going to clear anywhere between 10 to 39 copies of zooms off their screen. Again, this number will be completely random, so it is out of our control on how many zooms gets cleared off their screen. So let's talk a little bit about strategy on things that we can control. So the first thing is you want to make sure that there's enough zooms on the screen when you're activating the ability. At these lower skill level, it's probably not too hard. Especially for skill level 1, the maximum amount of zooms that will get cleared at skill level 1 is 35. So as long as you have 35 zooms on the screen before activating the ability, you're going to be okay. So if you want to be sure, generally what you want to do is you want to either burst a bubble before activating the ability, or just make sure all the zooms are settled before activating the ability. Because what happens during the animation is that it's going to freeze the screen. So in a hypothetical scenario where you only have 20 zooms on the screen, and you activate the skill that's going to clear, let's say 35 zooms off the screen at skill level 1, then it's only going to clear 20 because you don't have 35 zooms on the screen. I have an example of that for skill level 6, which I'll show you a little bit later. The next thing you want to do is you want to use the overcharge effect. You want to start pressing the ability button or the skill button on the bottom left hand corner when the Dark Mirror is about to be full. Keep in mind that to activate the ability, you're going to need to clear a total of 16 copies of the Dark Mirror off the screen. So if you clear anything more than 16 and you use the overcharge effect, it's going to go into the next charge up every single time you use the overcharge effect. This tip does not only apply to Dark Mirror, you could actually use this trick on other zooms as well. The next thing I want to show you guys is a side-by-side comparison of the abilities activated at the same time. Now, I'm just going to let these play through. They're essentially the abilities activated different times, and you'll notice that you're going to get different results every single time. They're not going to be consistent. But I will slow down this one because there are some things I want to show you guys. Now, I mentioned this in my Dire Crowley review video where the animation takes place in the same place as the Dark Mirror. So you could do a side-by-side comparison of Dire Crowley as well as the Magic Mirror. You'll see that the set or the backdrop of the animation is exactly the same. So I thought it was just a really fun Easter egg to share with you guys. Now I want to point your attention to skill level 2. Take a look at the balcony. You'll see that Cheshire the Cat jumps out, whereas skill level 1 and skill level 3, you don't see Cheshire the Cat jump out. This is an indication that skill level 2 is going to have the maximum amount of clears, which is 37. And you'll also notice that the coffin here is going to look different at skill level 2 compared to skill level 1 and skill level 3. The animation will look a little bit different, just letting you know which ones are going to be the random clear in between the ranges versus the maximum amount. If you see Cheshire Cat or the 3 dots on the coffin, you're going to get the maximum amount of clears. Now I purposely pick out these 3 on purpose to show you what the animations look like for maximum clears. You see Cheshire Cat there jumping out, and then the coffin is going to have the full graphics on the screen. And if you get a maximum clear, you're always going to get 35 for skill level 1, 37 for skill level 2, and 39 for skill level 3. Now the exception here is if you don't have enough zooms on the screen, then you're not going to get the maximum amount. So just make sure you have enough zooms on the screen before activating the ability. Moving on to the higher skill level. So for skill level 4, the clear range is going to be 11 to 41. Skill level 5 is going to be between 12 to 43, and skill level 6 is going to be between 13 to 45. Again, these numbers are going to be completely random, and it becomes more important that you have enough zooms on the screen before activating the ability, because if you do end up getting the maximum amount of clears, you might not get that exact number because you don't have those zooms on the screen. And by the way, if you're looking for the full gameplays for any of the zooms that I review, I will have those on my channel as well. I will have the video link for the Dark Mirror Uninterrupted in the video description, so if you're looking for that video, just check out the description box down below. I'll have a link there that will take you to that video where it's just the gameplays uninterrupted. Alright, so the next thing I want to show you guys is a side-by-side comparison of the abilities activated at the same time. Now these abilities were activated at different times, but I want to just show you multiple versions of it so you could tell the difference. Now, if you don't get the maximum marker for the ability, it doesn't mean that it's not going to be close to the max. So as an example, for skill level 6, the skill range is going to be 13 to 45. So it's very possible that you get 44 or 43 even without the marker. But I do want to show you one animation in particular, so I'm going to slow this one down. And if you take a look at it here, you do see Cheshire Cat as well as all of the markers available for the maximum amount of clears. But take a look at skill level 6. It's a little bit hard to see, but on the right hand side you'll see that I cleared roughly about 3 zooms, and there's also a bubble there that's in the way. And for that gameplay, I only ended up with 38 chains instead of the 45, which is the maximum. So that's why I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure you have enough zooms on the screen before activating the ability, because what ends up happening is that you won't get the maximum amount of clears if you don't have the maximum amount of zooms on the screen. And just so you know, the maximum amount of zooms you can have on the screen at any one time is 45. Unless you have a big zoom on the screen, then you can have more. But generally speaking, you want to make sure the entire screen is full of zooms before activating the ability at skill level 6, because you may get that maximum clear, which is 45. So overall, the Dark Mirror is one of those zooms that is really risky to max out to skill level 6. And the reason why I say that is because this zoom is really not that consistent, and the clear range could be so significant. On the low end for skill level 6 is 13, which is a very small clear for a skill level 6 zoom. But if you get on the higher end, you could get 45, which is really good. That's the entire screen essentially. And if you look at my skill level 6 game demonstration here, it's probably one of the more unlucky ones because I only got one maximum clear. And that maximum clear that I got, I didn't have enough zooms on the screen to clear all 45. So it really didn't benefit me in that way. So it really depends on how good your luck is to use the Dark Mirror. If you have really bad luck, the Dark Mirror is not going to be one you want to use. But if you're lucky, hypothetically, this is a really good zoom if you get 45 clears every single time. But because it's random and it's not possible to get all 45s, then in that case, the Dark Mirror is really not a reliable zoom to use. You could get as high as 5,000 coins per game if you could get 45 clears every single time. But because you can't, I would say the Dark Mirror is really not worth your investment. With that being said, I want to show you guys the results for all 6 of these gameplays. At skill level 1, I ended up with 1,178 coins with 3.7 million points. And then for skill level 2, it jumps up to 2,100 coins and then consistently grows to 2,847 coins. But then at skill level 4, it drops to 2,107 and then jumps up to 3,020 for skill level 5. but then drops again at skill level 6 to 2,132 coins. And like I mentioned earlier, the skill level 6 gameplay was a very unlucky one. And that's exactly what I was mentioning earlier, that the Dark Mirror really comes down to how lucky you are per gameplay. So how many coins you're going to get is really going to fluctuate between different skill level. You could technically get 3,000 to 4,000 coin at skill level 1 if you get 35 clears every single time. It's going to outperform if you have the Dark Mirror at skill level 6, but you only get 13 every single time. And with that being said, because this Tsum is so unpredictable of its ability, I wouldn't recommend you to max out to skill level 6. I think that if you want to get one copy of this Tsum, it's definitely fine because you may get lucky and get maximum clears every single time. But because it's so unpredictable, I wouldn't recommend you to try to get this Tsum to skill level 6. So that's my review of the Dark Mirror. I hope that you guys found this video helpful or at least entertaining. And if you would like to see more Tsum Tsum content just like this, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching.